All right, back to it here on a Free-for-All Friday. Glad to have you here as we work through another big day. You know, the big, beautiful bill, of course, was a big success to get it through, so far. Let's see here. My next guest is Kirk Lippold. He's one of those highly decorated veterans working on blowing the whistle on a billion-dollar problem in the nonprofit world. Veterans have joined the advisory board of Charities for Vets, a watchdog group that recently audited 100 of the largest veterans charities and found that 40% failed basic standards for efficient use of donations. That's not very comforting, is it? Kirk, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be on this morning.
And you've been a commander. In fact, for history on you, you were leading the USS Cole during that terrorist attack back in 2000. So you've been in some rough places, to say the least.
Well, absolutely. I was blessed with a great crew on the morning of October 12, 2000, when USS Cole was attacked by Al-Qaeda terrorists, detonating an improvised explosive device next to my ship that had gotten inside our security perimeter. Unfortunately, lost 17 sailors that we're going to honor this weekend, 37 wounded. But I was also blessed with a great crew of heroes who saved that ship, who just got back from deployment this past Christmas Eve after operating in the Red Sea and off the coast of Israel.
Right. So let me ask you about this. These Charities for Vets, this is how you've decided to spend this portion of your career. How important is it? You're talking about $1 billion raised in 2024, yet many spend as little as 10%, according to what I've read here, less than 10% of their budgets on actual services for veterans. Where's all the money go?
Well, Steve, what we really look at in Charities for Vet, and our website is charitiesforvets.org, is we decided through the RAM Foundation, the Robert Alexander Mercer Foundation, to really create an organization that would we are the gold standard for looking at all these veterans organizations who claim they do things for veterans, and many do, but really take a hard look at how much money is actually getting to the programs and the veterans that they claim to support. And so consequently, we're like a Consumer Reports. In other words, we evaluate these top 100 or so large veterans organizations and really kind of measure up against their IRS forms, their 501c3s, so their tax returns are public. And that way we can determine what are the administrative costs, what are they actually burning through, and how much actually gets to the veterans themselves. Because in this multi-billion-dollar industry, unfortunately, a lot of these organizations are not as efficient and effective as they should be. And that's why we're the gold standard to say, if you want to give your hard-earned money to a veterans organization, these are the ones that are highly recommended and recommended by us, and these are also the ones not recommended.
All right, so you went through 100 of the largest charities. Give me one of the good guys.
Easy one that you see all the time on TV is Tunnel for Towers. Obviously, when they've got around 96%, 96% is actually going toward the people who matter, going toward those people who have lost loved ones either through the war on terror or as first responders who have sacrificed so much for our nation. Those are the ones that get to it. And when it comes to veterans, I think people have a special place in their heart, especially this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, because these young men and women choose to raise their right hand. They choose a life of consequence in service to our nation. And when they unfortunately are killed in the line of fire or doing their job in service, we as a nation have an obligation to take care of them, but government can't backfill everything, and you've got a lot of patriotic and good Americans out there who would like to donate to organizations and make it happen. There you go. That's what Charities for Vets does.
Another one that you cite, Commander, is a good one. Building Homes for Heroes spends over 95% of its budget on programs, only 4.5% on overhead. I don't know what it takes to run a nonprofit like this, but it's good to see that some of these are doing 90% or better of their funds to the actual programs and not management and so forth. But some of them, exact opposite of that. I would call that almost fraudulent, wouldn't you?
I would say that it's in some cases it may appear to border on that. But I mean, just because an organization in our listing is not recommended doesn't mean they don't do good work when the money gets where it needs to be. What we look at though is how much are you spending? And some of these organizations literally have hundreds of millions of dollars that they raise every single year. But when you see over 25%, 30% of their budget spent on advertising, on fundraising, on paying for board memberships, those are the kind of things where, come on, when you're trying to help veterans, you really have to, you have to pay for some of the staff to be there. I get that. And so does everyone else. A director, make sure that the volunteers know what they're doing. But it truly should be more of a volunteer organizations, or you make sure that people understand you're not coming here to earn a ton of money. You're coming here to help veterans.
All right, Kirk, here's my question. Charities for Vets, your watchdog group. How can people find out more about you and check the scorecard?
Absolutely. It's called Charities for Vets, FOR, charitiesforvets.org. You can go online. You can see what we do. You can see what our evaluation criteria is. You can understand who is in our highly recommended and recommended categories, but also who's in the not recommended categories. One thing that we do different with this gold standard is we have a hard set. These are the criteria, period. We're not like others where they say, well, you're really strong in one area, but you're not so good in another. Therefore, we're going to balance it out. We say you either meet our gold standard criteria or not. So we recommend that people go on board, check us out, and make sure that charitiesforvets.org really becomes your go-to resource so that you can look and say, if I choose to give, will my hard-earned money get where I want it to go when it comes to helping those veterans out?
Commander Kirk Lippold, thank you for what you do. Charities for Vets. Check it out, folks. I'll be right back.